Kirito single-handedly sneaking into the Sylph headquarters and then meeting the Lord of the Sky as a fun little adventure, or a bittersweet one diving into Konno Yuuki's past featuring her sister and a friend at the founding of the Sleeping Knights. Sword Art Online's Aincrad arc is over in real life time as well, so what better time to dive into some Alfheim Online stories that you never experienced but you really should. Welcome everyone, this is Gamerturk's Book Club, and today we'll be looking into Sword Art Online Kiss and Fly Manga Adaptation Volume 2, featuring the Rainbow Bridge and Sister's Prayer side stories. Yen Press was kind enough to send me a review copy for this manga volume back in October, but I was a little too occupied with Fractured Daydream to really get a book club video rolling. But for those of you who do not know, Sword Art Online Kiss and Fly is originally the 22nd volume of the SAO light novels that features 4 previously Blu-ray bonus exclusive side stories, which was later adapted into manga format in its entirety by Bekkou Rico, the second volume of which is what we are diving into today. The first volume of the manga covers the day before and the day after side stories, whereas this one covers the Rainbow Bridge with Kirito and Co, which is actually the continuation of SAO Extra Edition's Undersea questline, and starts the adaptation of Sister's Prayer, which is the prequel of Mother's Rosario, focusing on Yuki, her sister Aiko, and another player they met, Merida, who then become the founding members of the Sleeping Knights. You know me, I always recommend you to read the light novels over manga adaptations to get the full story. However, Bekkou Rico's Kiss and Fly adaptation is absolutely on the superb tier manga adaptations on this front, where if you're not a fan of wordy books, you can easily just opt in for the manga without losing out on anything and get beautifully illustrated panels along the way. I can especially say Rico's art is a wonderful fit for a story like Sister's Prayer, shining with that energy and pureness Yuki has, yet captures the sad moments equally well. But first things first, let's start with Rainbow Bridge. To catch you up on the story, taking place after the ending of Season 1 but before the beginning of Season 2 in anime, Kirito and Co dive into an underwater dungeon. They faced Kraken the Abyss Lord in that adventure, but when just about to be defeated, the party is saved by the intervention of Leviathan the Sea Lord. This is actually where Rainbow Bridge begins. However, Chapter 1 of the manga adaptation is in Kiss and Fly Volume 1. Fear not though, you're not missing anything. Chapter 1 consists of the crew being safely brought back to the surface, but Kirito is suspicious that there may be more to the quest because it really did not feel like a conclusive ending to him. And with that, we start Kiss and Fly Volume 2. Kirito, at a loss for clues, decides to sneak into the Sylph headquarters to speak with Sakuya of all places. With their investigation together, Kirito realizes that the quest that took them to the lowest point of Alo now requires them to find and get to the highest place available in the main map instead. With Sakuya smiling without even looking at their map data, proclaiming that the highest map spot in Alo is the top of the world tree. The next day, a available crew consisting of Kirito, Asuna, Lifa, Shilika and Lisbeth decide to meet by the world tree, Yggdrasil, and fly into the storm clouds. Their dialogue here makes a big deal out of how the top of the world tree is obscured by storm clouds that disorients and eventually kills every player that enters it, but the entire journey reads as if you just need to have the quest to reach there to begin with, so admittedly the tension does feel a bit random. At no fault of the manga, mind you, that's just how the story is in light novel form as well. And indeed, when they reach the top of the tree and clear out of the clouds, they meet Creswell, the Sky Lord, hard to pronounce name, I'll be honest, who is unexpectedly handsome. He mentions that the group must have the protection of the Sea Lord, so yeah, the previous tension was just for the sake of it. Not that the crew would know, but come on, that's not hard to guess as a gamer that Kirito is, but I digress. Creswell drops a couple big lore bombs right here. Give me a second, I'll get to that. And then announces that the crew must go back as they currently have no purpose to be in the Sky Chamber to begin with. A gust of wind breaks out, a giant dragon appears to expel them. What a cute Lifa panel right there, I see you. And Kirito casually breaks the top of the world tree while trying to hang on, which is then converted into a staff/wand that Asuna uses in Alo. Now, Back to what Creswell mentioned, for such a minor and casual story, the implication of Rainbow Bridge has always been huge. Those of you familiar with the Norse mythology probably caught onto the cues as well, but the entire story is a setup for the Bifrost that connects different lands together, and Mr. Handsome Skylord states that Alfheim is not the end of the world. The crew quickly realized that Aincrad in New Alo in fact serves as Midgard, the human land within the world, and Rainbow Bridge quest probably acts as a prequel, some sort of a world quest to a world expansion for Alo that would come after conquering all 100 floors of Aincrad. We end the story on that cliffhanger, with the crew one day hoping to clear the 100th floor in New Aincrad and coming back to the Sky Chamber to unlock the new world beyond, whatever that may be. And as readers, that's a story we kinda sorta waited for a follow-up on for almost a decade now, which sadly does not look like it will ever come to be, considering where Unital Ring took the story shortly after. But Rainbow Bridge, it is one of those stories that utilized and expanded the lore of Alo greatly to present a chill and fun little adventure for everyone, and one of the many instances that makes me confidently say Reki is an incredible author when he actually has to write a concise story with clear page limitations and thus a limited scope. And what a range in terms of tone as well, as we jump from a chill and fun little adventure into one of the most bittersweet stories of the entire series. We start Sister's Prayer with Yuki taking her first step into the Medicuboid with Aiko by her side. The government plans to tamper with the nerve gear to save the trapped players about 2 years into the SAO incident, while Kayabai Kiko is still not found. How the parents, of the sisters passed away, their tragic condition, all of that leading to their time together in the medically purposed VR world of Serene Garden, where they met this girl called Merida, who is impressed by Yuki's level of adaptability in VR, so they group up together, and eventually Merida invites the two sisters into playing Asuka Empire, have some good time together, But Merida also had a wish. She was an SAO beta tester, and shortly after the end of the beta test, a tumor was found in her brain, with doctors no longer allowing her to use the old nerve gear, which in return had saved her life in a sense. But as she was a terminal patient, she always wished that she could actually be in Aincrad with her friends and maybe give her life away to save someone else. All she wanted was to have a meaning to her life before she passed. Well, the Konno twins were able to bring her back to reality. Sometimes words are just not enough to convey feelings, and Merida deep down was not entirely convinced. But sadly, the resolution to the adventure of how the Sleeping Knights Guild was founded is left for the third Kiss and Fly volume, the cover of which has recently been revealed by Yamprets and is coming out on January 21st. I'll be putting down links in the description for all 3 volumes of SAO Kiss and Fly manga adaptation, so if you're interested, I surely recommend it myself with the beautiful illustrations by Bekkou Rico. You can grab them down below there, and make sure to like the video when you scroll down. As I always say, the side stories of Reki are where he shines, and this manga adaptation beautifully brings those words to life. I hope you enjoy it, thank you very much for watching, and stay cool.